The rain-slicked streets of Seattle gleamed like shattered glass under the relentless downpour, and Noah Hayes stepped out of the cab with a knot in his gut tighter than the Windsor knot on his rented tux. He had done this dance 100 times. Smiles for sale, touches that meant nothing. But tonight, the client's name on the card burned in his pocket like a ghost from a life he had buried. Wyatt Harlan, the man who had once whispered promises in the dark of a dorm room, only to vanish like smoke when the world demanded he choose between love and legacy. Noah's breath caught as he approached the towering glass facade of the Four Seasons. The doorman's nod a silent judgment he ignored. Inside, the lobby hummed with the elite tech moguls nursing scotch, their laughter brittle as autumn leaves. But Noah's eyes locked on the figure at the bar, broad-shouldered and unyielding, nursing a tumbler like it was the only warmth left in his veins. Wyatt turned, and in that split second, the ice in his gaze cracked, recognition hitting like a freight train. Those hazel eyes, that crooked smile he had dreamed of erasing but never could. Wyatt's hand trembled on the glass, the scotch sloshing perilously close to the rim, as if the universe had just handed him a second chance wrapped in the cruelest irony. "Noah," he rasped, voice low and gravelly, the word tasting of regret and rain. But Noah only arched a brow, his heart a war drum he refused to let betray him. "You hired me for the night, Mr. Harlan. Let's make it count." Part 1. Noah slid onto the barstool beside Wyatt with the practiced grace of someone who had turned vulnerability into an art form. The air between them thickened, charged with the scent of aged bourbon and unspoken histories, the kind that festered like old wounds under fresh bandages. Wyatt's eyes, storm gray and shadowed by years of boardroom battles, traced the lines of Noah's face, lingering on the faint scar above his left eyebrow, a relic from that stupid bike-crash sophomore year when Wyatt had carried him 3 blocks to the ER, cursing under his breath the whole way. "You look good," Wyatt finally managed, his voice a rumble that Noah felt more than heard, vibrating through the polished mahogany bar. It was a lie, of course. Noah looked haunted, the kind of tired that etched itself into the corners of your soul. But Wyatt said it anyway, because what else was there? Apologies were for lesser men, and Wyatt Harlan had built an empire on swallowing his own sharp edges. Noah signaled the bartender with a tilt of his chin, ordering a gin and tonic that he knew would taste like regret. "Save the small talk, Wyatt. Or should I call you Mr. Harlan? That's what the agency said. Discretion above all." His tone was light, laced with that Seattle sarcasm that masked the ache, but his fingers drummed the counter, betraying the storm inside. 10 years. A decade since Wyatt had packed his bags for Harvard Business School, leaving behind a scribbled note on yellow legal pad. "I can't do this to you. Or me. Forgive me someday." Noah had burned it in the dorm's communal microwave, the acrid smoke setting off alarms that mirrored the chaos in his chest. Wyatt shifted his tailored suit. Armani, Noah guessed, the fabric whispering money, straining against shoulders that had broadened with time and tension. He was still devastatingly handsome, the kind of rugged that made tabloids speculate about his love life. But the lines around his mouth spoke of nights alone in penthouses overlooking Puget Sound. "This isn't. I didn't know it was you. The agency sent a file. Just a name. Noah H." He paused, swallowing hard. "Christ, Noah. How did we end up here?" The question hung like fog rolling in from the bay, and Noah let it settle, sipping his drink slow enough to savor the burn. How indeed? After Wyatt left, Noah had unraveled. Nights blurring into mornings in dive bars, chasing highs that dulled the hollow. College dropout at 20, scraping by with odd jobs until a roommate's offhand suggestion. Escort work pays better than waiting tables, and you're easy on the eyes. It started as survival, evolved into armor. Men like Wyatt, powerful, isolated, paid for the illusion of connection without the mess of strings. Tonight, though, the strings were already tangled, knotted around memories Noah had no right to resurrect. "Tonight's gala is for the Harlan Foundation," Wyatt continued, steering them back to safer waters, though his voice cracked on the edges. "Tech for good, AI ethics, sustainable energy. Boring as hell, but the donors expect arm candy. He glanced at Noah, a flicker of something raw crossing his features. Hunger, maybe, or guilt. I needed someone who could blend in. Not pity, Noah. Just company. Noah's laugh was soft, bitter as the lime wedge curling in his glass. Company, right? That's what this is. He met Wyatt's gaze then, unflinching, the hazel locking with gray like puzzle pieces forced apart too soon. In that moment, the bar faded, the clink of ice, the murmur of deals being sealed. And it was just them, two boys on the edge of everything, stealing kisses in the stacks of the university library. Wyatt's hand warm on the small of Noah's back as if he could anchor him against the world. But the world had won. Wyatt's family, old Seattle money, shipbuilders turned venture capitalists, had laid down the law. No scandals, no distractions from the legacy. Gay in the 90s was a whisper. In the aughts, it was a risk. Wyatt chose the path of least resistance, or so he told himself, burying Noah like a secret shame. Now, at 35, with a net worth that could buy half the city and a heart as empty as his trophy wall, he wondered if the trade had been worth it. The elevator ride to the penthouse suite was a study in silence, broken only by the soft chime of floors passing. Noah leaned against the mirrored wall, watching Wyatt's reflection. Rigid, jaw set like he was bracing for impact. "You don't have to do this," Noah said quietly, as the doors slid open to reveal a sprawl of luxury. Floor-to-ceiling windows framing the glittering skyline. A king-sized bed draped in Egyptian cotton that screamed loneliness. Wyatt loosened his tie, fingers fumbling for the first time Noah could remember. "I paid for the night. That's the deal." But his eyes said otherwise, pleading in the language they had invented in stolen moments. Flicks of lashes, the curl of a lip. Noah crossed the room, close enough to feel the heat radiating off Wyatt's skin, the faint cologne of sandalwood and salt that hadn't changed. "Then let's pretend," Noah murmured, his hand brushing Wyatt's cufflink, a deliberate graze that sent sparks up both their arms. For old time's sake. The gala was a whirlwind of crystal chandeliers and forced smiles, held in the hotel's grand ballroom where the elite of Seattle's tech scene mingled like sharks in a goldfish bowl. Wyatt's arm was a steel band around Noah's waist, possessive in a way that felt less like performance and more like desperation. Donors clapped Wyatt on the back, praising his latest acquisition, a startup revolutionizing climate modeling. But their eyes slid to Noah with curiosity, whispers trailing like smoke. "Who's the arm candy? Harlan's finally settling down?" Noah played his part flawlessly, charming a venture capitalist from Silicon Valley with quips about the rain's role in innovation. Keeps the egos watered down, while stealing glances at Wyatt, who watched him like a man parched. Midway through the keynote, as Wyatt took the stage to thunderous applause, Noah slipped to the terrace, the cool mist kissing his skin like an old friend. The city sprawled below, a mosaic of lights blurred by drizzle, and for a heartbeat, he let the mask slip, tears mingling with rain. Footsteps behind him, measured, hesitant. Wyatt's hand on his shoulder, warm through the thin silk of Noah's shirt. "You were brilliant in there. They loved you." Pause heavy as lead. God, Noah, seeing you like this, it's killing me." Noah turned, the words spilling out before he could cage them. "You think this is new? Every client is a ghost until they're not. But you were the one who taught me how to feel, Wyatt. And then you took it away." Wyatt's face crumpled, the unbreakable Harlan facade shattering. He pulled Noah close, foreheads touching, breaths sinking in the downpour. "I was a coward. My father. The board. I thought I could outrun it. Build something bigger than us." His voice broke. "But nothing's bigger. Not the deals, not the headlines. Just you." They kissed then, slow and searing, tasting of gin and grief, the world narrowing to the press of lips and the thunder of hearts. It was absolution and arson, a spark that could warm or consume. As they broke apart, Wyatt's eyes held a promise Noah wasn't sure he could trust. "Stay. Beyond tonight. Let me make it right." Noah's laugh was a ghost of itself. One night, remember? That's what you bought. But as they returned to the ballroom, Wyatt's hand in his feeling like home, Noah wondered if some ghosts were worth haunting you forever. The night deepened, the gala dissolving into after-hours haze, and they retreated to the suite like refugees from their own lives. Wyatt poured scotch neat, handing Noah a glass with fingers that lingered too long. "Tell me everything," he said, sinking onto the leather sofa, legs sprawled in uncharacteristic vulnerability. "These years, what I've missed." Noah perched on the armrest, the city lights painting his skin in silver. He spoke in fragments. The aimless drift after Wyatt left, the string of heartbreaks that hardened him, the escort gig that started as a lark and became a lifeline. "It's not glamorous," he admitted, voice steady despite the twist in his chest. "But it pays the rent on my shoebox in Capitol Hill. And honestly, some nights, it's the closest I get to feeling wanted." Wyatt's jaw tightened, knuckles whitening around his glass. "You deserve more. A life not this." He gestured vaguely, encompassing the room, the transaction, the chasm between them. But Noah saw the self-loathing there, the mirror Wyatt held up to his own choices. Marriages of convenience dodged, flings with models that left him emptier. "Easy for you to say," Noah replied, sliding down to sit beside him, knees brushing. "From up here in your ivory tower, you chose this, Wyatt. The power, the isolation. I just survived it." Silence stretched, taut as a wire, until Wyatt set his glass down and cupped Noah's face, thumbs tracing cheekbones like he was memorizing a map. "I chose wrong, every day since. But tonight, let me choose you." Their second kiss was hungrier, hands roaming with the urgency of time thieves, shirts discarded in a trail to the bed. Wyatt's body was a landscape of change. Muscles honed by gym sessions that screamed control, scars from a life of calculated risks, but his touch was the same. Reverent, mapping Noah like sacred ground. They moved together in the dim light, whispers turning to gasps, the rain a symphony against the windows. Afterward, tangled in sheets that smelled of them, Wyatt traced patterns on Noah's back. "I never stopped loving you," he confessed, voice muffled against Noah's hair. "It was the one constant, the thing that kept me human." Noah's throat tightened, tears hot on his lashes. "Then why hire a stranger? Why not find me?" "Because I didn't deserve to." Wyatt pulled back, eyes glistening. "But now, stay. We'll figure it out. No more running." As dawn crept in, gray and unforgiving, Noah lay awake, Wyatt's snores a soft anchor. Hope flickered, fragile as mist, but doubt lingered like shadows. One night had stretched into possibility, but could it bridge the years? He pressed a kiss to Wyatt's temple, whispering into the quiet, "Maybe." Morning light filtered through the blackout curtains like an unwelcome intruder, casting long shadows across the suite where Wyatt stirred, his arm tightening around Noah's waist as if afraid he'd vanish with the night. Noah watched him sleep, the furrow between Wyatt's brows smoothing into something almost peaceful, and for a moment, the world felt salvageable. Two men reclaiming stolen time in a city that never slept. But reality intruded with the buzz of Wyatt's phone on the nightstand, an insistent vibration that shattered the illusion. Wyatt groaned, eyes fluttering open to hazel depths that held a mix of tenderness and wariness. "Ignore it," he murmured, voice husky from disuse, pulling Noah closer. Their bodies fit like puzzle pieces weathered by time, hips aligning in a lazy tangle that spoke of mornings long lost. But the phone persisted, and Wyatt sighed, reaching over with a curse under his breath. The screen lit his face in cold blue. Dad Harlan Sr. incoming call, the third that morning if the notifications were any indication. "Let it go to voicemail," Noah said softly, his fingers tracing the ridge of Wyatt's collarbone, a distraction that almost worked. Almost. Wyatt hesitated, thumb hovering, before swiping to answer. "Dad, it's early." The voice on the other end was a gravelly bark, tinny through the speaker but unmistakable, Elias Harlan, patriarch of the empire. A man whose idea of affection was a firm handshake and a quarterly dividend check. Early? Boy, the markets don't sleep, and neither do I. That keynote last night, solid. But the board's buzzing about your +1. Who was the pretty boy? Tabloids are already sniffing. Wyatt's body tensed against Noah's. A wall slamming up where warmth had been. Business associate. Nothing more. The lie landed like a slap, and Noah stilled, the air thickening with the residue of old wounds. He extricated himself gently, padding to the bathroom to splash water on his face, staring at his reflection. Eyes puffy from tears he hadn't fully shed, lips swollen from kisses that promised too much. Wyatt ended the call abruptly, tossing the phone like it burned. He's just protective. The family's image is everything. He appeared in the doorway, shirtless and rumpled, the picture of domesticity that Noah both craved and feared. Coffee? Room service does a mean pour-over. They breakfasted on the balcony, the Space Needle piercing the mist like a needle threading clouds, steam rising from mugs as Wyatt sketched a future in broad strokes. Dinners at hidden bistros in Fremont, weekends hiking the Olympics, a life unscripted. Noah listened, heart swelling even as skepticism gnawed at the edges. And the agency? He asked, buttering a croissant with deliberate care. You going to call them? Tell them the night's extended indefinitely? Wyatt's smile faltered, just a fraction. We'll handle it. Discreetly. He reached across the table, lacing fingers with Noah's, the gesture grounding. This is real, Noah. I'm not letting go again. The day unfolded like a tentative truce. Wyatt canceled meetings. A first, his assistant's emails piling up like digital indictments. And they wandered Pike Place Market, hands brushing in the crowd, stealing tastes of salmon from vendors who didn't know their story. Noah laughed at Wyatt's failed attempt at haggling over tulips, the sound foreign after years of guarded smiles. For hours, Seattle wrapped around them like a favorite coat. The salt tang of the waterfront, the strum of buskers on First Avenue, the way the rain pattered like applause. But as afternoon bled into evening, the cracks showed. Wyatt's phone buzzed incessantly. Board members, investors, a cryptic text from Jay. We need to talk. Tonight. Jay. Wyatt silenced it, but Noah caught the name, a barb lodging in his chest. Who? He asked, casual as they shared a bench overlooking Elliott Bay, ferries cutting white wakes. Just work. Wyatt's evasion was smooth, too smooth, and Noah let it slide, unwilling to shatter the fragile bubble. Instead, they dined at a hole-in-the-wall in Belltown, dim-lit and jazz-infused, where Wyatt confessed fragments of his exile. The Harvard grind, hookups that tasted like ash, the Harlan merger that catapulted him to CEO at 28. I climbed so high to forget how low I felt without you, he said over tiramisu, eyes earnest in the candlelight. Noah shared too. The escort gigs that blurred into numbness, the therapy sessions where he unpacked the abandonment like fragile china. You weren't just a boyfriend, Wyatt. You were my North Star. When you left, I lost my way. Vulnerability hung between them, a bridge of words, and Wyatt pulled him into a kiss that tasted of espresso and earnestness. Right there in the booth, uncaring of the stares. Back at the hotel, passion reignited, slower this time, exploratory, Wyatt's mouth charting new territories, Noah's hands learning the map of scars. They collapsed spent, whispers weaving dreams until sleep claimed them. But Noah woke to emptiness, Wyatt pacing the suite in boxers and a scowl, phone pressed to his ear. I said no, Julian. It's complicated. The name again, Julian, sharp as a shard. Wyatt hung up, spotting Noah's watchful eyes. Ex-partner. From a few years back. Messy breakup. He's in town for the conference. The explanation tumbled out, laced with defensiveness, and Noah nodded, stomach twisting. Trust was a muscle atrophied from disuse. One flex and it cramped. The next morning brought a shift, Wyatt's schedule reclaiming him with a vengeance. Lunch? He proposed over coffee, but Noah shook his head, slipping back into his role. You've got empires to conquer. I'll call you later. The kiss goodbye was perfunctory, Wyatt's mind already elsewhere, and Noah descended to the street, rain washing away the night's residue. He walked aimlessly, Capitol Hill's eclectic pulse a bomb. Murals splashed in rainbow hues, coffee shops buzzing with queer poetry slams. His apartment was a third-floor walk-up above a vintage bookstore, walls lined with dog-eared Kerouac and Baldwin, the air thick with ink and incense. Stripping off the tux, Noah showered, letting scalding water scour the luxury from his skin. But Wyatt's scent clung, sandalwood, stubborn as memory. A text pinged as he toweled off. Miss you already. Dinner tonight? My place. W. Hope bloomed, tentative, and Noah replied with a thumbs-up emoji, simple as that. But scrolling his agency app, a new booking flashed. Client, Harlan, W. Extension, 48 hours. Rate doubled. Confusion warred with warmth. Had Wyatt pulled strings? Or was this just another transaction? Evening found Noah at Wyatt's penthouse in South Lake Union, a glass area where tech bros dreamed big and loved small. Wyatt greeted him with wine and a playlist of their college mixtape, Bon Iver crooning low, and they cooked pasta in a kitchen that saw more takeout than use. Laughter flowed easy, stories of mishaps. Wyatt's botched soufflé, Noah's infamous drag karaoke disaster. As they ate cross-legged on the floor, plates balanced on knees, Wyatt grew serious. I want this, Noah. But my world's. It's a machine. Gears grinding. Dad's pushing for a merger with Vanguard, Julian's firm. If it smells wrong, it'll tank. The admission hung and Noah probed gently. Julian, tell me about him. Wyatt sighed, swirling Merlot. 2 years. On paper, perfect, smart, connected. But he wanted the ring, the white picket fence in Bellevue. Couldn't give it. Not when my heart was still yours. His hand found Noah's, squeezing. He's persistent. Thinks we're unfinished business. Jealousy flickered, green and irrational, but Noah tamped it. And you? Finished with him. Long ago. Wyatt's kiss sealed it, fervent, leading them to the bedroom where windows framed the stars. Love-making turned worship, bodies a dialogue of forgiveness, until exhaustion pulled them under. Midnight brought the knock, insistent, echoing. Wyatt bolted upright, cursing. Stay here. He threw on a robe, disappearing into the hall. Voices rose. Wyatt's low growl, a sharper tenor, Julian's, laced with accusation. You ghost me for him? The escort? I saw the agency bill, Wyatt. Slumming it now? Noah's blood iced, slipping from bed to press against the door, ear to wood. It's not like that, Wyatt hissed. You need to leave. Or what? Daddy finds out his golden boy prefers rent boys over real commitments. Laughter cruel. We're good together, Wyatt. Stable. It's a midlife crisis fuck. The door slammed, footsteps retreating, and Wyatt returned, face ashen. He won't say anything, but doubt shadowed his eyes, and Noah pulled away when Wyatt reached for him. How long until he does? Until the world knows. Wyatt deflated. I don't care. Not anymore. But the lie echoed, and as they lay in silence, the chasm yawned wider. Trust, so newly rebuilt, teetered on the brink. Days blurred into a rhythm, stolen lunches at food trucks, evenings tangled in Wyatt's sheets, whispers of forever amid the city's hum. Noah quit the agency, Wyatt's insistence, his bank account swelling with transfers that felt like amends. Build something, Wyatt urged. Art? Writing? Whatever lights you up. Noah toyed with the idea, sketching story outlines on napkins, dreams stirring after years dormant. But Julian loomed, texts escalating, we need to meet. For old times. Wyatt deleted them, but paranoia seeped in. One night, over steak at Canlis. Views of the lake like spilled mercury. Wyatt's phone lit with a photo. Him and Noah, mid-kiss on the balcony, time-stamped by a drone paparazzo. Leaked, Wyatt muttered, paling. Julian's doing. Rage simmered in Noah's veins. End it. Confront him. Wyatt nodded, but hesitation flickered. The merger. It's delicate. The words landed like betrayal's first kiss, cold and familiar. Noah stood, chair scraping. Delicate. Like us. He walked out into the night, rain lashing, heart fracturing anew. Wyatt's call went unanswered, the distance growing with each block. Alone in his apartment, Noah curled on the futon. Baldwin's Giovanni's room open but unread, pages blurring with tears. Love was a gamble and he'd bet on the house again. But as thunder rolled, a knock sounded. Wyatt, drenched and desperate. I told him off. Merger be damned. You're my priority. They collided in the doorway, kisses frantic, but the seed of doubt had taken root. How deep did the roots run? The confrontation with Julian unfolded in a sterile conference room at the Vanguard offices. All chrome and glass reflecting the fractured skyline of Seattle like a funhouse mirror. Wyatt had demanded it neutral ground. No lawyers, just two men hashing out the poison between them. But the air crackled with the residue of old alliances and fresh vendettas. Julian lounged at the head of the table, legs crossed, his tailored vest hugging a frame lean from CrossFit and control issues. Dark hair slicked back, eyes the color of polished obsidian, sharp, unyielding. You look like hell, Harlan, Julian drawled, sliding a folder across the polished surface. Photos spilled out, grainy shots of Wyatt and Noah in intimate moments, timestamps from the past week. Leverage, darling. For the merger or against your little fling. Your choice. Wyatt's fists clenched on the table's edge, knuckles blanching. This ends now. Delete them. Or I walk the deal, and you sink with it. His voice was steel, honed by years of negotiations, but beneath it trembled the man who had once let love slip through fear's fingers. Julian's laugh was a scalpel, precise and cutting. Walk? And what? Play house with your rent boy. Elias will disown you. The board will crucify you. We both know you're not that brave. The word brave hung like a gauntlet, and Wyatt snatched the photos, crumpling them in his grip. Memories flooded. Julian's charm offensive 3 years prior, dinners at the Metropolitan laced with propositions, a relationship built on mutual ambition rather than fire. It had been comfortable, a placeholder for the ache Wyatt carried like a phantom limb, until Noah's face on that agency file reignited the truth. I'm done being scared, Wyatt said, voice steadying. Noah's not a fling. He's everything I threw away once. Not again. Julian's facade cracked, jealousy flashing raw. Everything? He's a hustler, Wyatt. I checked his file, clients by the dozen. What makes you think you're special? He leaned forward, voice dropping to a venomous whisper. Or is it the thrill? Slumming it with the pretty broken boy? Wyatt lunged, but restraint held him back, hands slamming the table instead. Get out of my life, Julian. Permanently. He stormed out, the door banging like a period on their history, heart pounding with a liberation that tasted bittersweet. Calling Noah from the elevator, voice breathless. It's handled. Come over. Please. Noah arrived at the penthouse with walls up, the doorman's knowing wink a reminder of how public their private world had become. Wyatt pulled him inside, words tumbling. The meeting, the threats, the final severance. I chose you. Us. His hands framed Noah's face, thumbs brushing away the tension lines. No more secrets. Noah searched those gray eyes, finding sincerity but also the shadow of cost. The merger's unraveling, Elias's impending fury. At what price, Wyatt? Your legacy. But the kiss that followed disarmed him, soft and seeking, leading to the couch where they mapped apologies with touches, clothes shedding like old skins. That night marked a pivot, the first untainted breath in their reclaimed air. Wyatt cooked, burnt edges forgiven, and they talked until stars wheeled overhead, Noah unspooling dreams of a novel, words about lost boys in rainy cities. Wyatt listened, truly, his empire forgotten in the glow of possibility. Write it, he urged, fingers interlaced. I'll fund whatever you need. Studio, retreats. Make it yours. The weeks that followed were a honeymoon haze, Seattle's autumn painting the leaves in fire as their love deepened roots. Mornings tangled in Wyatt's king bed, coffee brewed strong. Afternoons wandering Discovery Park, hands linked against the wind, sharing silences that spoke volumes. Noah's sketches evolved into chapters, a manuscript titled Rain Ghosts, pages filled with their echoes. Betrayal's sting, redemption's whisper. Wyatt navigated the fallout with grit. Elias's tirades in leather-bound studies, board meetings where whispers of scandal buzzed like flies. You're throwing away $1 billion future for a pipe dream? His father bellowed over brandy one evening, face ruddy with vein-popping rage. Wyatt stood firm, voice even. It's not a dream, Dad. It's my life. And Noah's part of it. Elias's silence was a weapon, weeks of the cold shoulder that chipped at Wyatt's resolve. But Noah's presence anchored him. Notes left on mirrors, you're enough, texts during depositions. Proud of you. One evening, after a particularly brutal call from his father, Wyatt collapsed into Noah's arms on the balcony, sobs racking his frame. He said, I'm weak. Like loving you makes me less. Noah held him, rocking gently, rain pattering like a lullaby. Loving me makes you human, Wyatt. Stronger than any deal. They made love under the downpour's veil. Umbrellas forgotten, water sluicing over skin in cathartic rivers. But harmony bred complacency, and shadows lengthened unnoticed. Julian, true to spite, leaked select photos to a gossip rag, Harlan Ayre's secret surrender. From boardrooms to bedroom escapades. The headlines splashed across feeds. Seattle's queer scene abuzz with schadenfreude and support. Wyatt's team spun it, power couple alert, but the damage rippled. Investors pulling funds, Elias issuing an ultimatum via courier. Shape up or ship out. Legacy isn't negotiable. Wyatt confided in Noah over takeout foe, steam curling like worry lines. I can weather it, but you, the exposure, your past. Noah's agency history was public now, dissected in comment threads, judgments flying like shrapnel. Strangers DM'd vitriol, gold digger, user. Noah's phone became a battlefield, and he silenced it, but the barbs lingered. It's us against them, Wyatt vowed, pulling him close. But doubt crept, insidious. Was this love's price too steep? Noah's writing stalled, pages blank as fear, and he found solace in old haunts. Capitol Hill bars where drag queens slayed and acceptance flowed like cheap beer. There, a familiar face. Theo, an old client turned friend. All easy grins and empathy. Heard about the drama, babe. You okay? They talked late, Theo's arm a platonic drape, laughter a release. Wyatt's text came at last call. Where are you? Noah replied honestly, but the delay festered. Wyatt arrived, face thunderous, pulling Noah aside. Theo? Seriously? After everything? Noah's hackles rose. He's a friend. Not every touch is a transaction. The argument spilled into the street, rain amplifying raised voices. You think I can't have a life outside you? That I'm still the escort waiting for scraps? Wyatt recoiled, regret flashing. I didn't mean. God, Noah, the world's tearing at us. I just need to know you're in this. They made up in the cab ride home. Apologies murmured against necks, but the fracture lingered, a hairline crack in marble. Elias's next move was surgical. Freezing Wyatt's trust fund. A financial guillotine meant to humble. Wyatt stared at the letter, hands shaking, the penthouse suddenly cavernous. He's cutting me off. Everything. Panic edged his voice. The invincible CEO reduced to a son seeking approval. Noah cooked that night, simple mac and cheese, comfort food from dorm days, and they ate on the floor, backs against cabinets. We'll rebuild, Noah said, fierce. Together. No empires required. Wyatt nodded, but his eyes held the abyss. Ambitions void, identity unmoored. The climax brewed at a family gala, Harlan Foundation's annual black tie affair in a waterfront mansion, chandeliers dripping light like liquid gold. Elias insisted Wyatt attend, with or without the boy, a gauntlet thrown. Noah went, arm linked with Wyatt's, chin high against the stairs, old money matrons whispering behind fans, tech scions appraising like livestock. Elias cornered them post-toasts, scotch breath hot. This charade ends tonight. Sign the merger papers, or watch your inheritance burn. His eyes slid to Noah, dismissive. And take your toy elsewhere. Wyatt's response was a blade. Noah's no toy. He's my future. And if that's not part of the legacy, then burn it all. He walked away, Noah in tow, the room's hush a roar in their ears. Outside, under stars pricked by city glow, Wyatt exhaled shakily. I did it. For us. Noah kissed him, salt of tears mingling. But as they drove into the night, a call shattered. Julian, voice slurred with gin and glee. Check your email, Harlan. The full file, your boy's client list, timestamps, everything. Sent to every investor. Betrayal's venom surged, Wyatt's grip whitening on the wheel. You bastard. He pulled over, phone trembling as he read the leak. Noah's history laid bare. Not just dates but details, twisted into scandal. How? Noah's stomach plummeted. Julian must have hacked the agency. But deeper, the wound, exposure's raw edge, his survival story weaponized. Wyatt turned, eyes stormy. We'll fight it. Lawyers, PR. But Noah cut him off, voice breaking. Fight? Or flee? Like last time. The accusation landed, and silence swallowed them. The rain a dirge for trust eroding. In the penthouse's hush, they circled like wounded animals. Wyatt paced, strategizing counters. Noah sat curled, armor cracking. I was surviving, Wyatt. Before you, during the void you left. Tears tracked. Now it's ammunition. Wyatt knelt, hands on knees. I know. And I'm sorry, for my part in that void. His voice cracked. But I love you. All of you. Let me stand with you. Noah searched his face, finding anchors in the gray. Okay, he whispered. Together. They clung through the night, storm raging outside, but inside, resolve hardened, a pact against the tide. Yet dawn brought Elias's hammer, a public statement disavowing Wyatt, shares plummeting. The empire teetered, and with it, their fragile world. The fallout cascaded like dominoes in a gale, Harlan Industries stock ticker a scarlet slash across financial news feeds, pundits on CNBC dissecting Wyatt's personal indiscretions with the glee of carrion birds. Seattle's morning commute buzzed with it, baristas murmuring over lattes, commuters scrolling headlines on the light rail. Harlan airs heartbreak. Scandal sinks shipping giant. Wyatt's phone was a war zone, voicemails from panicked VPs stacking like accusations, but he silenced it all, holing up in the penthouse with blackout shades drawn, the world reduced to take-out containers and Noah's steady presence. Noah moved in that first chaotic week. His Capitol Hill lease surrendered like a white flag, boxes of manuscripts and vinyl records cluttering the marble floors. It was practical, Wyatt's fortress against the siege, but intimate too, Noah's toothbrush beside Wyatt's in the quartz basin, his laughter echoing in rooms built for echoes. They navigated the wreckage side by side. Wyatt fielding calls in terse bursts, Noah drafting a joint statement for the press. Words like authenticity and unwavering commitment their shield. Elias's disavowal stung deepest, a paternal blade twist. The old man issued it from his Bellevue estate, stone walls unbreached, voice via video link cold as Cascade glaciers. Wyatt's choices reflect poorly on the family. We wish him well in his pursuits. No mention of Noah, erasure by omission, but the subtext screamed, "You're dead to us." Wyatt watched the clip on loop that night, jaw clenched, until Noah pried the remote away. "He's wrong," Noah said, curling into his side on the sectional, the city a distant hum beyond the glass. "You're not a reflection. You're Wyatt Harlan, builder, lover, survivor." His hands slipped under Wyatt's shirt, tracing ribs like braille. reading the hurt etched there. Wyatt turned, burying his face in Noah's neck, the scent of citrus shampoo a lifeline. What if I lose it all? The company, the name, what's left? Vulnerability stripped him bare. The CEO facade dissolved in sweat and need. Noah kissed his temple, slow. That's the empire worth saving. Their lovemaking that night was tender, unhurried. Wyatt mapping Noah's freckles like constellations. Noah whispering affirmations against pulse points. It was reclamation, bodies a bulwark against the storm. But dawn brought no reprieve. A courier with merger papers. Julian's signature a flourish of triumph. Vanguard swooping in to stabilize the chaos. Wyatt shredded them in the sink. Flames licking paper under the faucet's hiss. Let it burn, he growled, but doubt shadowed his eyes. Noah saw it, the pull of legacy, the whisper of what if. To counter, they escaped to the San Juans that weekend. A seaplane whisking them to Orcas Island, where evergreens bowed to salt winds and the world felt small. The cabin was rustic, log walls, stone hearth, rented under a pseudonym, their first anonymity in weeks. They hiked Moran State Park, boots crunching mossy trails, Wyatt's hand warm in Noah's, laughter bubbling at chipmunk chases. At the summit, Lake Washington sprawling below like a sapphire vein, Wyatt dropped to one knee. Not proposal, but promise. Pulling a simple silver band from his pocket, engraved always. Not forever yet, he said, voice thick. But this? It's us. Unbreakable. Noah's breath hitched, tears blurring the view as he slid it on. The metal cool against fevered skin. Yes, they made love on a blanket under pines, earth cradling them, the ring glinting like a vow. Back in Seattle, reinvention began. Wyatt stepped down as CEO, a press conference raw with honesty. Personal growth demands sacrifice. I'll advise from the shadows, but the spotlight's off. Shares dipped further, but allies emerged, queer investors from the tech underbelly, offering seed money for a new venture. Harlan Hartwood, sustainable tech for marginalized communities. Noah's novel surged, rain ghosts pouring out in fevered bursts, chapters emailed to a small press in Portland known for bold voices. Wyatt read drafts by firelight, eyes shining. This is you, Noah. Raw, real. Pride swelled, a balm for old insecurities. But Julian's ghost persisted, a final lash. Anonymous emails to Noah, excerpts from the leaked file twisted into taunts. Client reviews, eager but empty. Is that what Wyatt sees? Noah deleted them, but they festered, nights waking in sweats, Wyatt's arms a temporary ward. The breaking point came at a low-key fundraiser in Fremont. A queer arts collective's bash in a converted warehouse, murals exploding in neon. Wyatt and Noah arrived hand in hand, the crowd a tapestry of acceptance. Tattooed poets, drag kings slinging drinks, but Julian lurked in the shadows, nursing a gin, eyes venomous. He cornered Noah at the bar, breath sour. Slumming with the help now? Harlan's pity fuck. Spittle flecked Noah's cheek, and he shoved back, voice low. Walk away, Julian. You're done. Not till I take him down. Julian's grin was feral, phone out, dialing. One call to Elias, full dirt on your hustler days. Legacy over love. Wyatt materialized, hand on Julian's shoulder like a vice. Touch him, and you're finished. Security escorted Julian out, but the venom lingered. Wyatt's face a mask of fury and fear. In the cab home, silence reigned until Noah shattered it. He's right, you know. My past, it's baggage. Wyatt's head snapped up. Bullshit. It's survival. Strength. But Noah pulled away, the ring heavy. Or weakness. You deserve clean, Wyatt. Unscarred. The argument escalated in the penthouse, words weapons. Wyatt accusing Noah of self-sabotage. Noah hurling Wyatt's old abandonment like a grenade. You left once. What's stopping you now, when it's messy? Wyatt reeled, pain flashing. I stayed. Fought. But if you can't see that. He trailed off, door slamming as he stormed to the balcony. Rain sheeting glass. Noah followed, soaked in seconds, grabbing Wyatt's arm. Don't, please. They collided, kisses desperate, rain a baptism. I see you, Noah gasped. All of you, scars and all. Reconciliation burned hot, bodies slamming against wet stone, urgency born of near loss. Afterward, wrapped in towels, Wyatt confessed, Julian's not done. He's got dirt on me too. Embezzlement whispers from the merger push. Blackmail. Noah's blood chilled. We go public. Together. Wyatt nodded, resolve hardening. The next day, they met a reporter from The Stranger, Seattle's alt weekly, spilling everything. The leaks, the threats, the love that defied boardrooms. The article dropped like a bomb. Harlan's hidden war, love, lies, and corporate betrayal, exposing Julian's machinations, Elias's complicity. Backlash hit. Vanguard stock tanked, Julian arrested for hacking, Elias issuing a terse apology via proxy. Wyatt's phone rang with olive branches, old allies, new opportunities. In the eye, they retreated to the cabin again. No seaplane, just a ferry ride under gray skies. Noah finished Rain Ghosts there, dedicating it to Wyatt. For the man who taught me ghosts can be laid to rest. Wyatt proposed properly on the dock, knees in pebbles, ring upgraded but simple. Marry me, build forever. Noah's yes was a sob, sealing with salt-kissed lips. But as winter loomed, Elias reached out. A letter handwritten. I was wrong. Pride blinds. Come home. Bring him. Forgiveness's first thread. Yet peace was tentative, Julian's trial looming, shadows of doubt. Noah woke one night to Wyatt's pacing, face haunted. What if it's not enough? The empire's rubble. Noah pulled him down, heartbeat to heartbeat. Then we build anew. From love. Dawn broke clear, a rarity promising. Winter clamped Seattle in its icy fist, the sound a slate mirror under frost-kissed skies, and the Harlan penthouse transformed into a cocoon of resilience. Fairy lights strung along windows, a menorah flickering on the mantel for Noah's lapsed Jewish roots, evergreen boughs scenting the air with pine and possibility. Wyatt's advisory role at Heartwood bloomed, the startup a quiet revolution. AI tools for rural queer youth, apps mapping safe spaces, scholarships veiled as grants. He thrived in the margins, sleeves rolled, brainstorming in coffee-fueled marathons. Noah at his side scribbling notes, their synergy a quiet power. Noah's novel launch was intimate, a reading at Elliott Bay Book Company, shelves groaning under tomes like silent witnesses. Friends packed the space. Theo with a bouquet of wildflowers, Wyatt's lone Harlan cousin with awkward hugs, and as Noah read from Rain Ghosts, voice steady on passages of fractured hearts mending, Wyatt watched from the front row, eyes misted, the silver band on his finger catching light like a beacon. Applause thundered, copies signing in a blur. But the real victory was Wyatt's whisper later, over champagne flutes. You did this. From our ashes. Elias's thaw accelerated post-article, the old man's pride yielding to solitude's bite. Widowed now, echoes in empty halls. He invited them to Bellevue for Hanukkah, the estate a bastion of timber beams and taxidermy, but softened. Menorah polished, lax crisp. Over dinner, Elias cleared his throat, glass trembling. I built walls, Wyatt. Thought they protected, but they isolated. His gaze shifted to Noah, appraising turning warm. You make him shine. Welcome. Noah's throat tightened, fork pausing midair. Thank you, sir. No, sir, a bridge crossed. Wyatt's hand under the table squeezed. Silent C? Julian's trial was a media circus, federal courthouse swarming with cameras. But Wyatt and Noah testified together, hands clasped in the stand's shadow. Julian's defense painted him tragic, jilted lover, corporate pawn. But the evidence mounted. Hacked files, forged docs, a vendetta born of ego. Conviction came swift, 5 years, and as Julian was led away, his glare locked on Wyatt. You'll regret this. But Wyatt only nodded to Noah, turning away, the chain broken. Spring unfurled tentative, cherry blossoms dusting Capitol Hill like confetti, and their wedding planning wove joy through routine. No extravaganza, Wyatt vetoed black tie galas, but a ceremony at Gasworks Park, Fremont's industrial relic reclaimed as romance. Turbines silhouetted against sunset, guests on blankets with craft brews. Noah in linen, Wyatt in chambray, vows exchanged under a willow. I choose you, every storm. Rings exchanged, simple gold, engraved now and always. The reception pulsed with queer Seattle, drag performances, a playlist from their youth, dances barefoot on grass. Elias danced with Noah, stiff but sincere, whispering, "Take care of him. He's all I have left." Hartwood's team toasted, shares stabilizing, the startup's first grant awarded to a trans clinic in Tacoma. Honeymoon in Maine, Wyatt's whim, Acadia National Park's cliffs and lobster shacks a counterpoint to Seattle's slick. They hiked Cadillac Mountain at dawn, fog rolling like secrets unveiled, made love in a lighthouse cottage, waves crashing counterpoint to gasps. "This is us," Wyatt murmured, tracing Noah's spine. Uncharted, but home. Return brought normalcy's gift. Mornings writing, Wyatt reviewing code. Evenings cooking, arguments over spice levels dissolving into laughter. Noah's book hit bestseller lists, queer lit shelves claiming it, fan mail trickling, "You gave words to my silence." Wyatt beamed, framing reviews, but deeper, he healed. Therapy sessions unpacking abandonment's roots. Elias's calls weekly, gruff but growing. Yet conflict simmered, subtle. A Hartwood investor, Marcus, all ivy polish and probing questions, lunches stretching late. Noah noticed the hours, texts delayed, but chalked it to growth pains. Until one evening, Wyatt home flushed, "Ty askew." Marcus pushed for expansion. VCs sniffing big money, but strings. Noah's radar pinged, stirring pasta. Strings like control? Wyatt shrugged, evasive, and dinner tensed, silence is pregnant. Bed that night, Wyatt's touch wandered distracted, mind elsewhere. Noah lay awake, ring biting finger. Echoes of Julian's taunts resurfacing. Is that what he sees? Confrontation brewed over breakfast. Noah's voice calm but edged. "You're pulling away. Again." Wyatt's fork clattered. "Work. It's consuming." But Noah pressed. "Or temptation." Marcus's eyes linger. "I see it." Wyatt recoiled, hurt flashing. Jealousy? After everything. The fight escalated, words flying. Noah accusing retreat, Wyatt defending ambition. "I can't lose myself in us, Noah. Not wholly." The door slammed. Wyatt to the office, Noah to his desk, pages blank. Days chilled, texts polite, touches avoided. Elias sensed it, inviting Wyatt solo for man talk, returning him chastened. "Don't repeat my mistakes," the old man advised over scotch. "Love's the only legacy." Wyatt came home with roses, apology scripted. "I'm scared. Success feels fragile. But you're my constant." Noah forgave, arms opening, but the rift lingered, a lesson in vigilance. Summer peaked in a high, Hartwood's launch gala, a rooftop affair in Belltown, skyline ablaze. Noah emceed, charm effortless, Wyatt's speech soaring, tech for the unseen. Toasts rang, Marcus's handshake lingering too long, but Wyatt pulled away, anchoring to Noah. Later, under stars, he whispered, "No strings but ours." Fall brought trial's echo. Julian's appeal denied, but a letter smuggled. "You think it's over? Watch your back." Paranoia nipped, security cams installed, but life asserted. Noah's sequel contracted, Wyatt mentoring at a youth center, kids with stories mirroring their youth. Thanksgiving at Bellevue, table laden, Elias toasting. To family, blood and chosen, laughter flowed, wounds scarring over. But December's chill carried a whisper betrayal. Marcus cornered Wyatt at a conference in Portland, proposal laced with innuendo. "Join me, privately, We could rule. Wyatt rebuffed. But the seed, power siren, tempted. Home, guilt gnawed, confession spilling to Noah over eggnog. He tried. I shut it down. Noah's face shuddered, old fears roaring. And if you didn't? If the Empire called louder? Wyatt swore fealty, but Noah retreated, heart bruised. I need space. To trust. A week apart. Noah crashing with Theo writing furiously. Wyatt solitary, Empire hollow. Realization crashed. Without Noah, success soured. He drove to Capitol Hill, pounding rain. Finding Noah at the bookstore window, nose in a tome. I'm done chasing shadows, Wyatt said, drenched. You're my light. Noah pulled him in, kiss tasting of forgiveness, books tumbling. Reunion reignited, deeper, therapy joint now, unpacking triggers. New Year's Eve on the balcony. Fireworks bursting. Wyatt vowed, no more half measures. Spring's renewal mirrored theirs. Wedding anniversary hike. Elias gifting a trust for Heartwood. But climax loomed. Elias's health scare. A heart episode mid-merger remnants. Pulling Wyatt to bedside. Make peace, the doctor urged. Elias, frail in hospital gown, gripped Wyatt's hand. I was blind. Proud now. Love him fierce. Wyatt wept, Noah at side, vigil a bond. Recovery slow, but family solidified. Dinners weekly. Elias reading Rain Ghosts. Gruff praise. Good bones. Summer's heat wave tested. Heartwood's expansion offer from a Bay Area giant. Millions but autonomy lost. Wyatt wavered, board pressuring. It's security, he told Noah. Eyes conflicted. Noah challenged. Or chains. We built free. The debate raged nights, but dawn brought clarity. Wyatt declining. Forging independent path. With you. Fall's harvest. Book tour for Noah. Wyatt tagging along, hotel nights electric. Return to Harvest Festival in Pike Place. Hands sticky with cider. Love ripe. Winter circled. Anniversary nearing, but Julian's shadow stirred. A parole whisper. Early release rumor. Fear flickered, but Wyatt fortified. We've slain dragons. This is dust. Noah nodded, but inner turmoil brewed. Past's echo, self-worth as whisper. One night, post-dinner, he confessed, sometimes I wonder if I'm enough. Without the glamour. Wyatt cupped his face. You're everything. The glamour's illusion. Lovemaking followed, affirming body's a testament. As snow dusted the sound, they planned renewal vows, circle complete. But life's drama peaked. Elias's proposal, co-CEO return, full pardon, temptations test. Wyatt consulted Noah. Legacy or us? Choice clear, us. Always. Rejection gracious, Elias understanding. You've surpassed. Year's end. Balcony under lights, Wyatt to Noah. Our story's just beginning. Kiss sealed, future vast. The second winter in Seattle wrapped their world in a hush of hoarfrost and hearth fires. The penthouse a sanctuary where snowflakes danced against panes like confetti from a kinder fate. Wyatt and Noah's rhythm had deepened into something elemental. Mornings with journals open. Noah's pen scratching sequels while Wyatt sketched algorithms on tablets. Afternoons lost in the city's veins. Volunteer shifts at the youth center, where Wyatt mentored wide-eyed teens on coding dreams, Noah facilitating writing circles that unearthed stories sharper than his own. Elias's recovery had woven him into their tapestry. Sunday suppers at Bellevue, a ritual of roast chicken and reluctant anecdotes. The old man's laughter thawing like spring thaw. Yet beneath the idol, a undercurrent pulled Julian's parole hearing, fast-tracked by a sympathetic judge, whispers in legal circles of rehabilitation. The news arrived via a manila envelope slipped under the door. No return address. Court date circled in red. A scrawled note. See you soon. Wyatt's hand shook as he showed Noah, the paper crinkling like dry leaves. He's out in weeks, if granted. Noah's stomach knotted, memories of venomous words resurfacing like bile. We prepare. Not panic, but sleep evaded. Nights tangled in vigilance. Wyatt's body a shield Noah both leaned on and pushed against. Trust, rebuilt brick by brick, trembled under threat's weight. The hearing loomed in a Tacoma courthouse, gray monolith under drizzling skies, and they attended uninvited, Wyatt's jaw set, Noah's hand a quiet anchor. Julian emerged changed, hair graying at temples, suit hanging loose on a frame softened by confinement, but eyes still serpentine, locking on them across the gallery with a smile like shattered glass. Testimony painted him reformed. Therapy logs, job offers from a non-profit, irony's twist, but Wyatt's statement, delivered steady. His actions scarred lives. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. The judge denied, citing risk, and Julian's glare as bailiffs led him away held no heat. Resignation, perhaps, or deeper scheming. Outside, rain lashed, Wyatt pulling Noah under an awning. It's over, but Noah shivered, not from cold. Is it? He broke us once. Wyatt's arms encircled, warm. We broke ourselves more, and rebuilt. The drive home blurred into a debrief over whiskey, confessions spilling. Noah admitting the file's ghosts haunted his worth. Wyatt owning ambition's old siren call. You're my compass? Wyatt vowed, ring glinting as he refilled glasses. Always north. Spring's bloom brought renewals right. Their vow ceremony at Gasworks, a year on, guests expanded, Theo officiating in sequins, Elias in a kilt nodding approval, Heartwood kids scattering petals. Vows evolved, Noah's. I choose your shadows as much as light. Wyatt's. In every rewrite, you're the hero. Rings reconfirmed, kisses under turbine's shadow, cheers echoing like absolution. Heartwood flourished, securing grants for a Seattle hub. Wyatt's vision realized. VR-safe houses for isolated LGBTQ plus elders. Apps translating sign for deaf trans youth. Noah's sequel, Echo Shores, launched to acclaim, tours weaving their story into talks. Love as resistance. Elias invested quietly, pride unspoken but evident in checks and chess games with Wyatt. Summer's zenith tested anew. A rival firm poached Heartwood talent, whispers of sabotage tracing to Julian's old allies. Boardroom skirmishes ensued. Wyatt's nights long, homecomings weary. Noah supported, meals waiting, but resentment simmered. Echoes of early days, love secondary to grind. One eve, over cooling stir-fry, it erupted. You're disappearing again. Noah accused, fork stabbing cabbage. Wyatt rubbed temples. It's war. For our future. Noah's laugh bittered. Our? Or yours? The chasm yawned, Wyatt retreating to the study, door a barrier. Reconciliation brewed slow. Noah's note on desk. Fight together, not alone. Wyatt's reply. Flowers and a shutdown of the poach. You're right. Balance. Date night followed. The pink doors accordion croons, dances closing gaps. Fall's harvest yielded bounty. Heartwood's gala, Noah's toast viral. From escorts to empires, love levels fields. Elias danced with a cousin, steps shuffling but joyful. Winter's approach carried climax's chill. Julian's final gambit, a blog post from a burner account, Harlan's hypocrisy. The escort empire, twisting truths into lies, client names redacted but implications damning. Shares dipped, donors wavered, media frenzy reigniting. Wyatt raged in the kitchen, mug shattering. He won't stop. Noah steadied him, cuts bandaged. Then we end the narrative. Joint interview with NPR, voices intertwined. Scars shared, strength forged. Public tide turned, support surging, boycotts on the blog's host. Elias rallied, legal team dismantling the post, slander suits filed. Julian vanished, rumored to Canada, pursuit dropped as hollow. Victory tasted of relief, but deeper, catharsis, past's power neutered. Christmas at Bellevue, tree laden with ornaments. Wyatt's childhood sailboat, Noah's first edition Baldwin. Gifts unwrapped, Wyatt's leather journal for Noah. Engraved stories eternal. Noah's star map of their first kiss night. Elias gifted deeds. A cabin in the San Juans. For ghosts to rest. New Year's, balcony vigil, fireworks painting faces. Wyatt knelt anew. Not ring but promise. Adopt? Build family? Noah's yes trembled. Future seated. Spring's circle. Fertility clinic visits. Dreams discussed. Heartwood expanded. Noah's third book outlined. Elias's health held. Stories swapped over brandy. Summer's heat. Beach days at Alki. Plans for a child. Surrogacy paths. Names brainstormed. River for a boy. Sage for girl. Fall's colors. Book festival. Wyatt paneling on ethical AI. Proposal to Elias. Board seat. Accepted with grunt. Winter's peace. First ultrasound shared. Heartbeats flutter. Julian's echo silenced. Life affirmed. Their story, once fractured, now whole, love's tapestry. Threads of pain woven gold. In Seattle's endless rain, they thrived. Human, free, unapologetic.